President Joe Biden is going to be in Illinois, up in Chicago on Wednesday, as his son is revealed in a chat message with a Chinese official about money and saying that his dad's sitting right next to him. And you've got a whole host of other issues, including the influx of migrants from the southern border coming to Illinois and Chicago and all of the tax dollars that are going to that for housing and for health care. What's going on in Washington, D.C. with all of these things? Well, joining us to talk about that is Congressman Darin LaHood. Thank you for taking time with us, Congressman, and let's get right on into it. You've got, let's start with the Hunter Biden stuff. We've been hearing rumblings for months and months, if not years, from the Hunter Biden laptop that was suppressed before the 2020 election to the most recent revelations of a WeChat message indicating that Biden was saying he was sitting next to his father demanding payment. What do we know, and where do we go from here with this information? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Greg. Well, first, I would encourage all of your listeners to go read the transcripts of the IRS whistleblowers that were released last week in a vote by the Ways and Means Committee. When you read these whistleblower allegations that are in there, it's really disturbing. I've never seen in a federal case like this where the U.S. Department of Justice basically slow-walked everything. They didn't allow the IRS agents and other investigatory bodies to look into Hunter Biden. And it's revealing on the direct connection between Hunter Biden and his dad. Secondly, Hunter Biden with Chinese entities, Romanian entities, Ukrainian entities. And I think the thing that's most disturbing, Greg, is it's the fact that that the Biden administration and their DOJ, particularly Merrick Garland, was protecting Hunter Biden. And because of his name, because of his political connections, and that's really infuriating to my constituents when you see this. And no one that would take $8 million from these illicit sources and not pay any taxes would get a plea agreement for misdemeanors.
Congressman, why should the taxpayers care about this story?
Well, they should care about it because it's another example of a two-tiered system of justice, where when you're politically connected and you're part of the political elite, you're going to get a different outcome from the Justice Department. The other part is, as a former federal prosecutor, Greg, I've never seen where the IRS lets the statute of limitations run out on federal tax charges. That's what happened. 2014, 2015 tax charges against Hunter Biden, they let the statute of limitations run out, so you can't charge them. I've never seen that done before. But the lenient plea agreement is ridiculous. The last point that I'll make on this, Greg, is it's more than a coincidence that we announced we're releasing these whistleblower transcripts on Thursday, and they abruptly schedule a plea agreement on Monday. I think the timing is suspicious. We're going to be asking and filing a brief with the court asking for the judge to reject the plea agreement on July 26th of next month.
So you've got all of this working to really reveal not just the indiscretions of Hunter Biden from the tax issues and the what could be characterized as money laundering, bringing in millions of dollars from foreign entities and foreign countries even, and somehow allegedly siphoning that through and laundering that for Biden family members, including, quote, the big guy. So you've got that at play here. It's not just Hunter Biden's indiscretions, it's the question of the president. And do you think that this is going to eventually, once more information and more evidence is put out there and the dots are linked, so to speak, do you think that there's going to be impeachment proceedings against the president on this particular issue?
Well, I think there are a lot of concerns, and we're going to follow the facts and evidence, Greg. Jamie Comer, the chairman of the Oversight Committee, Jim Jordan, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, both have ongoing investigations. We're going to go where the facts and evidence. But I got to tell you, when you read the whistleblower reports and the transcripts, the facts and evidence are not good. And this was a very uncommon, unique, and unusual situation to give him a slap on the wrist for 2 misdemeanor charges and an expungable gun charge. That would not happen to Joe Q. Public in Springfield, Illinois, or Peoria, Illinois, or Rockford, Illinois. It's ridiculous. So we are going to follow the facts and evidence. And I know the Biden administration, they keep saying, this ends Hunter Biden's criminal probe. They want this to all go away and sweep it under the rug. That is not going to happen.
And Congressman, how would this compare to the impeachment of Donald Trump? I mean, was there factual basis there? They impeached him twice.
Yeah, absolutely not. They move forward with lacking evidence that obviously ended in acquittal in the Senate and not moving any forward. But again, it's when you have a Biden administration that has not come forward and not given an explanation on why this occurred. Again, it leaves people wondering. The other part that I would also mention, another observation, Greg, is Democrats love whistleblowers. They always talk about whistleblowers. Now you have two legitimate, superior IRS agents that are whistleblowers, and they don't move forward with the allegation. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. But we're going to follow the facts and evidence. It's not good for Hunter Biden. It's not good for the president at this point, and we'll see where it goes.
We're talking with Congressman Darin LaHood here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. You did have one of your colleagues, Lauren Boeberts, advance impeachment resolution to a couple of different committees about the border crisis. Talk about where we're at with that, especially because here in Illinois, you've got Governor J.B. Pritzker, $550 million that's in the state budget starting July 1st for migrant health care. You've got tens of millions of dollars going to house these migrants. Is the border under control now, or is it still porous, possibly letting in, 4+ million people, if not more population than several U.S. states being into this country undocumented?
Well, let's remember, under the Trump administration, at the end, we had the lowest amount of illegal immigrants coming across our border in the last 40 years. I mean, we essentially, working with the Border Patrol agents, working with the Mexican government, we were stopping illegal immigration, stopping the coyotes, stopping the criminal elements from coming across. And what happened? The Biden administration basically ripped up that Mexico policy. And now we've had roughly over 4 million people illegally come across our border. It's a blatant violation of our Constitution and our laws, and basically it's putting people ahead of the line on legal immigration. But yet you have a Biden administration that continues to be complicit with violating the law, not standing up for the Constitution. So I think what you're going to see in Congress is moving forward with the impeachment of Mayorkas. Mayorkas has not abided by the rule of law. He continues to not enforce the rule of law. There has to be consequences for that, Greg.
Congressman Darin LaHood, we've seen a recent poll released showing that the vast majority of Americans do not see the country moving in the right direction. You've got President Joe Biden set, of course, running for re-election. He's going to be in Chicago on Wednesday with an official speech about Bidenomics. I'm not sure if that's Biden economics or what it is, but he's also going to do a fundraiser. Your thoughts of the president coming to tout his economic agenda here in a state like Illinois? That seems to be, doing less well than the rest of the country when it comes to the economy.
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy right now with high inflation. We've had high energy costs. The future, if people look at their retirement 401k, 529s, their mutual funds, I think there's a lot of concern on where the economy is going under the Biden administration, and people don't have confidence that Biden can run the economy. And I think we've seen that with the Fed and interest rates and lots of other things. So I'm not confident that his speech that he's going to give in Illinois is going to give people that confidence in any way. Plus, I mean, I've just seen polling in the last couple of days here that over half of the Democrats question his mental acuity and his future to lead the country, and I think that is a common sentiment among voters across the country, just because of his actions and the way that he's conducted himself. So I think he's in serious trouble as we head into next year, and I think people need to question the direction of the country.
And what would you like the president to say? What kinds of policies do you think should be implemented to, counter what you're saying are the problems with the Biden economy? Well,
I think for one thing, you got to look at how do we get back to energy independence in this country. where we're producing our own energy. So much of our inflationary problems as it relates to businesses and manufacturing and companies and individuals is energy independence, getting back to that. So we're not relying on our foreign adversaries. That the spike in energy has, because of the Ukraine conflict and not producing domestic amounts of energy, I think contributed to that. That's number one. Number two, I think also looking at the tax policies that we have in this country, the way we've been spending money. We're $32 trillion in debt. It's part of the reason why I didn't vote for the debt ceiling raising is because of those policies. So I think it's focusing on spending and reducing that. And then secondly, it's getting back to energy independence. That's what we ought to be focused on.
Congressman Darin LaHood, greatly appreciate your time this morning. We'll definitely be talking again in the very near future. Be safe out there, all right?
Have a great week, Greg. Thank you.
You too. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk, now 7:20.